is send out the recon bolt, see where the players are, and then ult onto them. How does acquiring an ult work in this game, Gaskin?
Yeah, go for it again. Sorry.
Well, basically, you acquire it via kills and also via rounds. And there's also little bubbles that you'll see when you walk into sites. You can pick those up, and that will get you 1 point closer to your ultimate. So you can see people gain ultimates within just a couple of rounds if they have a really big round and get an insane amount of kills. And you can see Lothar already pushing straight onto this site with the rest of this team. They're utilizing abilities to smoke off certain windows so they can't be seen. And the spike is planted straight away, and they're in a 3v4 scenario.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good for them. Also, huge shout out to Lothar. They're playing the character that he looks just like. that is by far the best part about this whole thing. So Orb is able to get the pick there, but a nice pick up there with the pistol. It's going to turn around and will be a round win for our enemy team. Not the way that they wanted to start, but it was actually a good few plays there for Lothar. He picked up one in hookah and then got challenged by the player around. He heard the footsteps that would be popping up behind him. The sound in this game is amazing, by the way. You can tell where someone is, how far they are, when they're going to come around the corner, whether or not they're on the other side of the wall. There's some really cool stuff that they do.
So just to ask some fundamental questions. Obviously, it's first to 13 rounds. You have an attacking phase of 12 rounds, then a defensive phase of 12 rounds. This object on the ground in front of them, this is the object they have to plant, yes?
Yep,
yes.
that is
the
spike.
Okay.
And the point of the spike is similar to what you would see in Counter-Strike with a bomb, for example. You want to get onto a site. On this particular map, there's only 2 sites. On the other map that we'll see today, there's actually 3 sites, which is pretty exciting because we haven't really seen that in other tactical shooters very often. But when it is just the 2 sites, it's more straightforward. You know where you're going to be pushing. You know where your opponent's going to be pushing from. However, there is more ability for you as defenders to push out a little bit further if there are 3 sites, for example. But currently, these boys just trying to get onto this A site.
Yeah, right. Orb just manages to get a pick up there. Lothar knows, and this is it, right? So he's going to go for that shock arrow. And I didn't go into great detail about what the shock arrow does, but it does some damage. That was a flawless round too. Well done. So yes, it does some damage on impact to whoever's in the vicinity. That thing actually hurts, and it can eliminate your opponent if you're not careful. So a lot of things to consider. The utility on Sova is fantastic, but one thing I do want to make note of is, unlike games like Counter-Strike, for example, like your utility and everything, that is tied to your specific agent. Like you can't just all have smokes, you can't all have Molotovs. You have a specific set of abilities, and once you're out, like that kind of changes how the entirety of the plan will shape up,
So with his loadout down here, with like the recon bolts and the drones and stuff, is that something he has to buy, or is that something it's on cooldown?
He buys every round, unless he successfully completes a round without using his equipment, in which case he could save it for the next round. So that's another little bit of information too, right? Don't try and look, you just saw the bounces take place right there, but that was going to be the curveball from the Phoenix that actually blinded Lothar, and I think that was his own teammate's curveball, Dan. I don't know if you saw that. But everyone's still learning how to work around with these agents and what are the best practices with them. Someone's going to be pinned in the corner, and it seems like they might be able to get the spike down. One player left alive, and it's Omen.
It is Omen, and Omen does have the ability to teleport behind you. His ultimate allows him to teleport anywhere on the map. So if he does have his ultimate ready, you've really got to be prepared as to where he may go. The minimap does kind of shake, and it goes all shadowy, so you know that he has teleported somewhere, and it often means that people are going to be looking for you. But right now, I imagine this Omen might look to just save a weapon. Economy is something that's very important in this game as well. You want to make sure that you have weapons available for the next round. As Golden Boy was talking about, your abilities, they do cost money, but it's not that much. And if you die, you don't lose them. That's something that's different to a couple of other tactical shooters. You will keep those abilities. You can continuously buy them round after round. And you usually will have the majority of your abilities throughout the entire game.
Kurwa, zabiło mnie
Let's see now. They're looking for him. They're on the hunt, but it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to succeed in catching the Omen off guard. Oh, never mind. They did. Oh, that's done. Gonna have to go back to the buy there, but should be okay. And oof, my goodness, my eyes. We're fine though. I think I'm alive. Do you guys see my eyes? I don't know. I don't see them anymore.
I got flashbanged on stream.
Yeah, I don't want to see I don't want to see him get hit with the curveball there from Phoenix, because that will actually hurt us all. Okay, so what we're looking at here now is another one of the agents in the game. His name is Brimstone, and and Brimstone basically has I don't want to say global, but he has smokes that he can deploy across the map that is very, very effective. It's a sick ability here and a good pickup with the Vandal. Now you're going to continue on the approach. There goes the smokes. You can deploy them on that little GPS thing that he has going on there, and then that will give you some instant coverage. It is a pretty powerful ability, to say the least.
It's one of the best abilities, I'd say, in the game. In terms of like executing and getting onto a site, it's so important. You can see how he's blocked off the balcony there, so they can't be shot from one direction. He's also looked towards the spawn area, so they can't be pushed from there. Allows them to get in onto the site, allows them to, of course, plant that spike as well. But you might be thinking, oh, well, that's so overpowered. Like, it's so easy to get on sites. You've got to think, you've also got these abilities defensively when you're on the opposing side, and it's not just Brimstone's abilities. You've got to look at someone like Sage, who can wall things off and can slow you down when you're trying to push onto a site as well. But I'd say Brimstone was one of my favorite agents to play, just because you can pop those kind of smokes. Well, they're called sky smokes, actually, with the ability that he has on his wrist. But you've also got to think about his ultimate as well. You can see he has his ultimate ready there in the bottom right-hand corner. The orbital strike. You can choose any area on the map where he just lays fire down on anything that's in front of it, and it can be so powerful to stop a plant or to kill someone who might be hiding in a room. I think he is going to be one of the most important agents as we move forward.
Oh, I agree 100% with that, man. He has so much utility. The only thing about the Sky Smoke, though, to keep in mind is that it takes a while for it to deploy. So not only does he have to take out the GPS, and you got to, tap wherever you want to drop the smokes, but then on top of which, it's going to take a little time for that smoke to actually drop. Players will be notified when that smoke is coming because they're going to see a circle on the ground, and this is the animation for it here, right? So the Sky Smoke, he's going to look to place this one further up, which is a very smart play because he's trying to block any of the visibility that's going to be coming out of the A site, and that will drop 3 smokes right in front. No one can see, but there is, just as I say that, there was these, oh, okay, that is their Sova drone. I think they all got confused for a moment. Colors are a little off, so it's a little difficult to see.
You can see him smiling in the corner. This is kind of fun. We're getting to watch Isaac watch himself play the game.
He's also tried his best to wear the same T-shirt as well. Yeah, a little bit bigger in terms of stripes, but I like that he's at least made the effort. The other one just wasn't quite washed yet.
Yeah, you
might
like
notice
thickness at 24 points.
On this map as well, so we're playing Bind at the moment, there are teleporters on the map, and they are one-way teleporters as well. They are to try and get you from one site to another quicker. So if you want to rotate to try and stop a plant, for example,
good shot.
Utilize those.
Wow, that was actually a very, very well done shot there. And does manage to pick one right through. Let's see now what Izaku's going to do. He's taking a look over at Hookah. Does find one. He's going to throw out. It is going to be that Sova. So the Sova plays the recon just to try and get the information. He knows exactly where he's going to be. He uses that utility, and he's going to go for it. He's going to go for the orbital drop. That's it. He's going for the orbital strike. It's going to stop him from being able to push up. Just for a time being, though. The spike's going to be inside of the teleporter room. And it seems like he's just not going to be able to have enough to... And he used a lot of utility at that one. His ultimate, he used a few smokes, too. Like, there was just a lot of investment. There's the Sova again. There's that shock as well, and finally gets the pick. I mean, they were just both looking for each other. I think, the Sova just wanted to get out of there as quickly as possible, but...
Yeah, the Sova just wanted to survive, of course, because if he had survived and the spike wasn't planted, they would win the round. So it made sense that Isaac had to chase there. Otherwise, they would have just lost. It would have been pointless.
On the Twitch Rivals extension on the left side of your screen, we're currently running a poll. Which agent in Valorant are you most excited to play as? Go get your vote in right now. Phoenix is leading at 23%. Also use that extension to find a list of all the streamers who are participating in the event today, and you can go and just watch this perspective from their perspectives. Go watch it with them and maybe ask them some questions. I got a few questions of my own here. A few have gotten from chat. This blue wall that they're facing up against right now, or that they were just facing up against, is that just something that's there at the beginning of the round?
Absolutely. It's just there at the beginning of the round just to allow people to set up on the defense or the offense, regardless of side. It's so you can't push out into any stupid spots and kind of hide into any sneaky angles. It just makes it fair for attack and defense.
And also bear in mind, too, that when you're in that state, you actually can't hear what the other people are doing on the other side of that wall. So if, let's say, I'm going crazy, or I brought up, some utility or whatever to, do it at the beginning of the round, it actually doesn't it doesn't do it doesn't like show up to anyone else. So you can be a little smart with it and take advantage of those brief opportunities, especially if you're playing like B long or something. They're great opportunities for you to be able to just throw some utility down right away to stop a push on B long if you have an inkling with the sound that that's where they're going to be coming from.
Now, another question I saw in chat is, why are people walking so slowly all the time?
So that's just going to be for audio. Basically, if you walk, you're not going to give any indication of where you are with your footsteps. Whereas if you're running, you're going to let everyone know pretty much on the map who is in a certain radius where you are. So it's very important to be a little bit more sneaky, a little bit more methodical about where you're going to be going, just so then you can surprise people. Because this game is all about information. If you have information about where certain players are on the map, you can communicate that to your teammates. You can then set up around that. You can push them. You can utilize your abilities. And you're going to be in a really bad spot if people know where you are. So that's why everyone's walking around and they're being little sneaky beavers.
Yeah, and that also, information is Gaskin had mentioned is important. Look at what Godolphin did when he was coming out of hookah. He played that ice wall up, stayed on top of it, so this way he's able to lift himself up. And then if he pokes around, they're not going to expect him to be coming up the top of that wall there, right? It's those little details like that that really help out. But Godolphin not able to come out on top in that one. It seemed like that fight happened at A so fast. They did a really quick A push. They were able to execute on that. Score is going to be 4-3 though. Godolphin squad currently going to be up. And I'm actually pumped to see Godolphin play because for those who may not know, he is a competitive Apex player. And I casted him recently, and he just came in second in the tournament. Guy's a beast. He's so talented. He's definitely going to be a player that I'm personally going to be looking out for when this game finally starts to make its way to people's PCs.
He did celebrate earlier because he got his first kill in the game, and you might see him. He's struggling a little bit with the aiming mechanics of the game in this particular game we're watching. Very different to the likes of Apex Legends. There's a lot more recoil. It'd be more similar to those who have played Counter-Strike. You really have to pull down with your guns when you're aiming. You also want to try and stand still or crouch where possible. If you're trying to strafe around and you're trying to spray people, you're probably not going to hit that many shots. So again, it goes back to being a little bit more patient, a little bit more methodical about what you're trying to do. If you are going to run onto a site and you want to run and gun, you want to look at different weapons that might allow you to utilize that kind of style. SMGs, for example, are going to be a little bit more forgiving when you are running and gunning.
That's right. That's going to be a pick there. That's 2. And Godolphin's actually utilizing the Bulldog. And the Bulldog is a great early, and this is the res. So he does get the res out too. That's another ability of Sage's. Maybe didn't need to use the resurrection there, unfortunately. You want to save those for critical moments, especially if you're going to start a push, someone gets picked right away. You use the resurrection and then you're good to go, right? So yeah, not what you want to do there. But also another thing to keep in mind is that this, if I'm correct, is like one of the first games that these people played. So they're all still learning the game as this goes on. So again, we're learning, you're learning, because this is a lot of your guys' first time watching this. In fact, most of you, unless you a bunch of little leakers out there. This is the first time a lot of people are watching gameplay. And yeah, we're just going to continue to learn as we go along.
Is there another way to get ult points besides picking up those orbs? I believe kills and deaths.
We are going to be with orb at the moment. And you'll see that everyone is trying different characters as well and different agents throughout today.
Cypher.
Cypher is one of these agents who is very much about trying to catch your enemies off guard. He lays down traps. He's got spy cameras, he's got drones, he's got all of these abilities to give information to his teammates. So very important to have him on a team if you are going to be kind of putting those traps down in certain positions. You can see a player got caught by the trap there, and Orb was able to just push through and finish off that kill.
Look what's going on. So what he's doing right now is Cypher's ultimate ability, which is called Neutral Theft. It hacks a dead player and tells you where everyone is going to be located. For a few seconds, not the entire round, but for a few seconds. Cypher has a lot to work with here. It's such a good agent.
And it's just so important, that information as well. If you're in like a 1v3 situation like he is now, he will have kind of an idea of where people are going to be, finds one, manages to get that kill. Decent shots there onto Lothar. And now he has to get aggressive because the other team will know where he is. If he carries on walking around, he's probably going to leave himself vulnerable. So I like now that he's getting a little bit more aggressive and trying to push onto one of these sites.
Now, Golden Boy, if I'm used to like Call of Duty or Apex or something like that, I'm used to basically having to aim down sight for everything. But I'm seeing a lot of these guys firing from the hip. Is that normal in this game?
Yeah, because this game follows a lot of the same rules that like other tactical FPS games like Counter-Strike do, for example. But what's cool is that if you nice shot there, way to control the spray from orb. So the thing to note and is that you can also some games have the ability for you to ADS to aim down the sights, and there's certain trade-offs, but also certain pros and cons to it, right? The pro is obviously you're going to have a little bit tighter spread, so your shots are going to go exactly where you want them to go, but you are going to have a slower firing rate for some of the guns, like the Vandal as well as the Phantom, which are the two, I would say, main ARs in the game. Those have slower fire rates. For the Bulldog, for example, if you aim in with that, it becomes a 3-shot burst, like a BR. If you're familiar with games like Halo, it is just like that. So there are some different things that you can do with the aim down sights, and for the most part, a lot of the guns in the game take advantage of it, I would say, very well.
You've also got to consider the fact that when you do scope in as well, you lose 10% damage. So that's something that people might be wondering, like, should I always be scoping in or should I be hip firing? For the most case, I'd say hip firing is more than adequate, and you can utilize that in your best way like you may have done in other games. But the majority of guns have the ability to one-shot headshot. At least some of the higher-end guns, the Phantom and the Vandal, can both just kill one person with one bullet as long as you hit them directly in the head. It becomes a little bit different with the Phantom at certain ranges, so you want to be a little bit closer with the Phantom, whereas the Vandal, kind of similar to an AK-47, it will just pop heads from a distance.
Yeah, it's a very powerful weapon.
Shout out to Cash App for gifting 10 subs. Appreciate you guys showing up and giving some support. Another question from chat, and we touched on this a little bit earlier, but just for clarity, the ultimate ability they've got down there, it builds up over the course of many rounds. Is that a thing that is explicitly on a cooldown, or can I actually, is there a way for me to buy like a time off that cooldown?
No way for you to buy time off of the cooldown. It comes through every round, but there is a way for you in game when you're in round to be able to get a few more ticks toward your ultimate. And what that is there are these little orbs that are around in neutral areas in the map. For example, in this game, there's one over by the teleporter on the A site near showers, and then on B long, there's another orb. And these give you 1 tick toward your ultimate ability. So sometimes you also want to play around that as well to try and get that in case, like, let's say you are 1 orb away from being able to execute on an ultimate. You simply just want to be able to have that available to you. Go ahead, chase the orb. Maybe that could be the difference between you winning or losing the round.
A lot of those orbs are in vulnerable areas as well, so you usually have to smoke yourself off or wall yourself off so you can actually pick up that orb. They're not easily accessible and easily grabbable. So you have to always ensure that either someone's there to support you or you have an ability that might be able to just pinch it away from your opponent, because it can be important. Like, that ultimate could win you a round, and of course kills build up that ultimate ability as well. That's why you will sometimes see someone have 2 ultimate abilities within just a few rounds, because they're going off and they're getting so many kills.
Yeah, exactly. If you are just shredding in the game, right? When we look at that there, actually, the Sova arrow did identify where that player was going to be, but Stroman, wisely enough, just backing away to the hookah area. So again, if you are popping off, and this is the other important little detail, right? Because if you, both of the Sovas are having a drone battle, by the way, that was hilarious. If you're popping off, you can build up your ultimate so fast, and that thing will just, or maybe if you're a Sage, you can get Resurrects, or if you're a Brimstone, you can get your Orbital Strike. Like, there's just a lot of value that you can get out of it.
And you're going to have to learn all of the abilities of these agents so you can best manipulate the map to your favor. If you know that there's an ultimate ability, for example, on one of your opponents, you need to make sure you're not putting yourself in a dangerous situation where they can take advantage of that. You also want to learn their abilities. When you see sticky stuff on the floor and you're thinking, okay, should I walk through that? Should I not? I'd usually say don't walk through anything on the floor that looks like it's fire or ice, because it is going to hurt you in some way. Sage's ice that she puts down, that will slow you, and you'll also make loads of noise. So again, you're going to be giving away information. And there's the ultimate that we're seeing as well from Sova, just being able to slap through walls with a big bow and arrow, and it can do some real damage.
Now, think about this for a moment, chat. If you are Sova and you don't have your, let's say you don't have your arrow made available to you so that you can get the recon to push onto the site, but you have a teammate that's located right here on Heaven, and you get some kind of information from them, like, oh, they're, you know, planting bomb on the side, you can actually look at your mini map at the top left, and that will tell you where your arrows are actually going to go, and it goes through walls. The thing is, though, is that the player on the other side, and what a play there from Stroman to clutch it out, but I don't think it's going to be enough to stop the defuse here. Actually, nope, never mind. You can get that information, and dude, it rips people apart. It is such a great ultimate ability. It can be the difference maker. Unfortunately for them, it did not lead to a round win that time around. 6-5 current score, though. They're going to have the lead by 1.
You notice the defuse there. It takes 7.5 seconds to defuse the spike. There is no sort of defuse kits or anything to shorten that. It's always going to be 7.5 seconds. But one of the interesting things about Valorant is the fact you can defuse it halfway. You can stop, you can then look around, and then you can continue defusing that, or a teammate can continue defusing it. It will stay at halfway defused. This allows for way more kind of clutch moments and clutch kills, because someone might hold it for a little bit, then they'll come off it, and then they'll go back onto it later after getting some kills. It's also a 45-second time overall for the spike once planted, so bear that in mind when you are playing, so that you push onto sites quick enough to try and get that defuse.
Yeah, there's a lot of little details that you can take advantage of in Valorant. And again, as we were playing, we were just continuing to learn more and more and more. But Malton's now going to be on your screen from the perspective of Stormin, and you get a few pickoffs there over by the site. Now B-site's going to be open, and he's going to wave the shot around just a little bit, but it will be enough to pick off that one against Taz. Now got the op out. GG. Round is done. 7-5.
And you might have seen Phoenix's face there. It was kind of covered up by some blur. That is one of the abilities of Omen. He kind of fires forward his ability, and it kind of blocks the sight of anyone that it hits just at a short radius. They can only see maybe like 10 meters ahead of them. Anything further than that, they can't see. So Phoenix was almost blind at that point, which is what allowed him to go in. It's kind of like a flash ability. However, it's not too powerful because they can see things short distance still.
Yeah, the flash ability from Phoenix, what makes that utility so fun is that it wraps around the wall. So if you want to get a little cheeky with a few plays, and you know that you're going to have some people pushing up, you throw that flash around the wall, you catch them. And so again, there are all these different, like, every character has something that, you know, it's either like a smoke or a flash, as you were mentioning before with like with Omen. They have like these little tiny things, and then they have certain abilities that are just completely unique to Valorant itself. Like, for example, Phoenix's ultimate ability, he literally creates a replica of himself that he's able to push up and even get kills with. And if he ends up getting eliminated with that particular ultimate ability active, he then goes right back to his other body, so that this way he's able to get right back into the fight. The thing is, though, is that there's a long animation before you are able to get back into the fight. So little tiny details. And if you know exactly where that guy popped Phoenix ult, you can push him and be able to take out the Phoenix. So if the Phoenix dies, and then there's nothing that he could do.
Storman's in a 1v2 at the moment. He's already gained the information as to where the other two players are. However, they have the spike, so they're going to be playing a very defensive angle. They should just be watching that spike, ensuring that he can't pick it up and he can't plant it, because then if he can't plant it, he's not going to win the round. So he has to get aggressive now. He has to try and push up and get this spike. But he should be watched from several angles. He managed to pick it up, but you can see they are starting to push him from both sides. He gets one, looks for the second potentially. Taz goes down. This could be a huge 1v2 for him. But with only 20 seconds left, he has to make a move, and he gets the clutch. And that's good stuff from Storman. Like, the way he utilized the abilities there, so he got the information, he was able to push up, he was patient. I think patience is so key in tactical shooters.
Yeah.
Now we just watched Storman get a clutch on a pistol. Love the pistol swap mid round as well. And as this is also round 13, by the way, so they just switched sides. He's now going to be on defense, I believe. But we just watched a pistol duel. Well, it looked like, I think, 2 ARs. In most games, that's a fight you're going to lose, no matter how good you are of a shooter. Is the pistol really that strong here, Gaskin?
There are a variety of pistols as well, but yes, the pistol can do a lot of damage. And like any other tactical shooter, if you have good enough aim and you can pop someone in the head a couple of times, you're going to be in a good position. Or you can buy a more expensive pistol, like we're seeing from Noisy here. This is like kind of a deagle/revolver type gun that can do absolute bits. Like, that is going to kill someone in one headshot. It's called the Sheriff on this game, And this will usually be the weapon you'll see people buy when their economy's a little bit low, but they still want a powerful weapon that they might be able to catch someone off guard or walking around a corner and then steal their gun.
Or if they want to make a montage clip, one or the other, kind of like what we're seeing here. That's the thing about the sheriff. It is such a fun weapon to use. I am just absolute butt cheeks with it. Then again, it doesn't matter what game I'm playing. I'm just always not good with single shot weapons. Oh, look at this here. So he's going to throw down the Molotov version of this ability here for him. And that was actually something to note as well, because the blaze that he plays out, it's a Molotov for other people, but it heals Phoenix. So that is just I believe it is
so strong.
No, or is it Hot Hands? Sorry, it's Hot Hands. Hot Hands is the thing that he is able to play. It heals him, does damage to the enemy. You can literally use that to push. Like, just such a good ability.
But also,
Phoenix is so good.
It does damage your teammates as well, which I unfortunately found out on several different occasions when I had angry people shouting at me because I killed them.
Oh, well, feels bad, man.
Does feel bad.
It only heals you.
Hot Hands, man.
Yeah, it only heals you. It doesn't heal like the opposite Phoenix if there's two Phoenixes or anything like that. But
yes,
it is something you can think about. If you're standing on a corner and there's someone around the wall, you could throw Hot Hands down. You can heal yourself whilst potentially damaging an opponent, and then you can push and get aggressive. I know you said in the chat that a lot of people wanted to try Phoenix, which I'm a big fan of because he's from the UK. So it's good to see that people are standing up for the UK character in the game.
Yeah, there's a dead heat right now between Phoenix and Jet on the top of the poll. A question from chat was, can we explain how bunny hopping works in this game? Is it a special mechanic?
So bunny hopping is possible. I don't actually know how to do it as of yet. I have seen pros
take
doing
out my
it.
knife and I'm just jumping.
There is the ability to do it though, and actually one of the cool things is that with Sage's ability, when she throws down that ice and it slows people, if you can bunny hop successfully, you can bunny hop all the way across it where you won't be slowed down. So keep an eye on all these pros that are going to be working out how to bunny hop. I think at the moment it's pretty similar to other tactical shooters and like Counter-Strike. It is doable.
Bunny hopping is
I
there.
know it's definitely doable.
Yeah, bunny hopping is there. I tried many times to try and get it over the Sage slow, but it just didn't really work out for me because the slow orb is it's pretty wide when you throw it out, and it spreads very fast. So if you get caught in it, you're basically all your momentum's essentially gone. But yes, you can bee hop, and yes, it is in fact very awesome bee hopping. Love it.
Now we've seen a few different smoke spheres on the map that have like different colors. Are those all the same, and the colors just indicate who put them there, or do they actually have different effects?
They have different effects. They'll be from different agents. So the purple one that you'll be seeing will be from Omen. Omen throws a dark cover, which basically allows him to shoot a ball of cover across the entire map. You can open the map and you can place it pretty much wherever you want to a certain distance. And that's going to be the purple ball you're seeing. It takes quite a while to travel across the map, though. It's not going to be instant. And then the kind of white one that you'll be seeing is from Jet. That's a very short smoke. It lasts only a couple of seconds. And then the more normal one that you're seeing right in front of you, that's Brimstone's. That lasts for a lot longer than the one from Jet. So they're all going to be different characters who have these different kind of smoking abilities that ultimately you just want to be blocking sight lines from your opponent.
And that actually is going to be the ultimate ability for Phoenix, mind you. So you see he gets picked off, but he gets the information. He goes right back to his character's body, but there is going to be that animation before he's able to push onto the site. They did get the information they needed, and now they're going to be trapped inside of that Sage slow. And that will be the blaze wall that's played down. So you will get damage as you walk through it. And this is just another one of those little tiny details that he's able to use, Phoenix, that will give him the upper hand. He's your entry fragger, essentially, Phoenix. He's the guy that a majority of the montages that are going to be done, the frag movies that we're going to see, will probably come from Phoenix at the beginning, because he's just that type of character. Very fast, can get around corners quickly, flash around those corners, protect himself. There's just so much that this particular agent can do. It is very, very impressive in the hands of someone that will be a threat to the server, that will certainly be something that I'm just pumped to watch, because I know like people like Noisy, for example, they're already getting a lot of it down, and this is like one of the first games that we're seeing here at the beginning when we were filming this.
Yeah, at first glance, I mean, a lot of people will probably be thinking, well, there's a lot of flashy colors, there's a lot of abilities, there's a lot of smokes, there's a lot of bubbles, what's going on? But you very quickly learn what agent does what and what counters what, because that's the important thing with any competitive shooter. If something is overpowered, what's going to be countering? And I'd say that for the majority of things, there is always going to be another agent that can do something to counteract that ability. And I think that's where I found my fun playing in the alpha, is choosing which agent might be able to protect me from certain abilities on other agents' side.
Yeah, and also another thing that I want to note, you had mentioned the smokes before, Wavepunk. So you see that the smoke that's deployed right in front of Noisy actually has like a red tint in it, and that means that it is from an opponent. All of the abilities that have a red tint, and you'll see it across the board. You'll see it in Sage's Slow Orb. You'll see it in the Jet Smoke. You'll see it in some of the Omen smokes as well. You'll see that red tint in there. That means that that comes from an opponent. So that also is just another little detail that will give you the knowledge. Because in other games, if you throw down a smoke, it looks exactly the same no matter who threw it. But here, you get that information. Also, another thing of note, when you just saw Noisy get picked off there by that player coming out of that door is a one-way teleporter. It goes from the A site to the B site, which takes you from A short to hookah. Now, when you go through that teleporter, and I know some of you may hear teleporter and think to yourself, oh man, I'm getting like Halo vibes right now. How many times can you go in? You can only go one direction. That's one, not the band. And two, you can also make a lot of noise when you go through there. Like, it is super loud. It literally is like a boom, and then the door opens. It's like burn. Like, that's literally. I'm not even lying here. That's literally how it sounds. It's like burn, and then that's it.
Everyone on the map is going to hear you, and they are going to turn around. One of the cool things, though, is the doors don't open until you walk towards them, so you can teleport through, and you can stay in that room if you want. So you could stay in that room, and you could bait the teleporter. Someone might come through, and you could just be watching it. Or you can just bide your time, hope that someone forgets that you're in that room, and then you push out. You can also send some abilities through teleporters as well. That's something you've got to remember. Some of these cool abilities like flashes, or some of these damaging abilities as well, throw them through a teleporter and it could hit someone on the other side.
Yeah, I'll try.
Here's an interesting question from chat. In y'all's experience playing, how did the economy feel? Did you guys have to save a lot of rounds? Was there, in relation to other tactical shooters, how often were you having to save versus buy?
So personally, for me, I found a lot of success with the Spectre, which is kind of like an MP5, the more expensive SMG. I could buy that near enough every round unless we got absolutely trashed in the first couple. If you want to be buying your AK-47, if you want to be buying like one of the snipers, then you are most likely going to have to save a little bit. I think the economy is a bit more forgiving than some other tactical shooters. However, you certainly have to keep an eye on it, and you also have to communicate with your team as well. You all need to be on the same page. If only a couple of you are saving, then it is going to be a bit of trouble when two of you are walking around with a pistol and then the rest have snipers, for example.
But speaking of the economy, though, and what's really cool about what Riot did with the buy system in this game is that you, unlike other games, like unlike Counter-Strike, where you say like, "Hey, can anyone buy me something? Buy me an AK, buy me an M4," and then someone buys it and then drops it for you. You can actually just right-click on whatever it is that you want and say that you want this. You can actually see it in Forced Screen. It says buy, and then it says want. So if he wanted the Ghost for whatever reason, although he is more than capable of buying it for himself, but let's say he wanted a Phantom, and his teammate had enough cash to be able to give him that. You can request it, and it will go immediately to your hands. It's not something that you need to pick up. It just goes straight to your hands. I'm fairly certain, Dan, you can correct me on this, but you can't give out cash, though. That is the only thing that I believe you can't give, right?
Or abilities. You can't buy someone else's abilities for them as well, but it certainly makes it more user-friendly. You don't have the clunkiness of necessarily throwing a gun to one another. You'll just see on the left-hand side, it will say, Forsen requested X gun, and you just press, okay, buy, and you buy it for them. Very simple. I love that addition to the game. Made it very friendly, especially when some people aren't communicating or don't have a microphone or something like that.
Dude, that was such a sick play that Forsen did there. Did you see? He put down the Omen smoke, so the dark cover. He put 2 of them down, and then he went and teleported. He shadow walked, I believe it is. Yeah, he shadow walked from one dark cover to another and got onto the site. Fortunately for him, Lothar did get the better of him in that exchange. But that right there, and also you're seeing the power of the sheriff, by the way. That right there is what makes this so cool, because you can take advantage of these abilities and if you think around the abilities, and then you also have the godlike aim. I mean, you're just gonna wreck people. Like, realistically, you are just gonna destroy people in this game if you are that kind of an individual that has that mindset, you know.
And I think what made me fall in love with this game instantly playing it through alpha was those kind of 1 versus X situations, the clutch factor, the fact that you as an individual, you can win rounds 1v4, 1v5. Of course, if you're going up against a 5-stack and they're a team and they're communicating, it's going to be difficult. But the possibility is still there, not only with just sheer gun skill, but with the use of abilities as well. But it's even more available if you've got 2 of you alive and you can then coordinate and utilize those abilities to help the other. There's so much possibilities that are available. And I think we're only going to be scratching the surface today because, like Golden Boy said earlier, these are a lot of the first games for some of these players.
Yeah.
We got Forsen here rocking the operator weapon. Do either of you guys experience opping in this game?
Oh yeah, I experienced it plenty when I was shot by it.
The receiving end.
Yeah, I've never been. In CS, like I've never really been much of a sniper. But that being said, I just love the fact that it's called the operator. That's just an awesome nod.
Nice.
But 2, it's just. I like the little details that they added to it. Like, for example, when you know that you are good to go for the shot, you actually, like CS, where you see the line, unblur, and it just becomes straight, and like, okay, you're good for the shot. You get like a little red dot that pops up right in the middle of your crosshair, and that will indicate to you, like, okay, I'm steady enough to be able to land this shot exactly where I need it to go.
And for
this game's gotten pretty close here. We're at 11-9. It's first of 13 rounds. If we get tied up at 12-12, is it just 1 round sudden death?
it is just 1 round sudden death.
At least in this what we played.
Yeah. Certainly in the matchmaking, I don't know how if they'll choose to change that as we go on. Of course, this is only alpha footage at the moment, and we're going into the beta, so I'm sure that could be something that could be changed in future of competitive tournaments. But for now, it's just that 1 round, and you will see who is going to become the victor.
Clever play there by Forsen, by the way. He got trapped on the Sage slow orb and teleported to his safe wall. Was able to pick up a double from that. I mean, dude, that's just bananas right there. That's going to be 3, looking for maybe 4. Who knows? He's picking up the op. He's feeling thirsty. Maybe he gets himself a cheeky ace here. Anything's possible at this point. That's going to be a miss there. It's okay. We'll go for it again. It's now down to a 2v2. Let's see what Forsen could do.
I think you put too much expectation on Forsen here.
I did.
I felt the pressure 2 weeks ago.
Dude, he's just, ooh. Okay, the smokes are going to come through. Now, and here's the other thing. If you put down the brimstone smokes, but you have an inclination of where the player is and you don't move your crosshair, you could shoot them right through the smoke. Like, I actually got a few kills by just, keeping that crosshair down on the site that I needed to go. And as soon as that smoke went, 9 times out of 10, I knew that they were going to push. So because of that, I was prepared.
Well, it is so much about angles.
I put a lot of pressure on him. I put a lot of pressure on him. The difference maker too, as well, was that went from a 1v2 to a 1v3 because of the Sage revive. That was you can make the argument maybe that wasn't the best time to use the revive, but it's also like everyone's still kind of like learning when it is. I feel like the revive is best when you are at the beginning and your push gets stopped right away. I think that's like the best time for the revive, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of
we were just talking about the smokes here. Talking about shooting through things. What is wall banging like in this game?
So certain guns will have a better ability to wallbang than others. For example, the op has a high wallbang possibility. You're going to be able to shoot through walls and you will be able to kill people, and it will be doing pretty much the same damage. 150 damage to the body, so that will be an instant kill. And there's 225 to the head, but that doesn't really matter because you're going to kill them anyway. You won't quite kill them in the leg, but other guns like the assault rifles, they have a medium ability of wallbanging, so still entirely possible. And then some of the smaller guns, for example, are going to struggle to do as much damage. But wallbanging is definitely a thing within Valorant. certainly with the amount of abilities that can allow you to see characters through walls, and then you know where they are, and suddenly you're saying, hey, I'm going to spray and pray through this wall, and you can take full advantage of that as Pago is going off with the op.
Oh my word, what a play there. It's only going to leave the Sage left alive, and they know exactly where the Sage is located. Maybe goes to finish it. That's Godolphin. A good attempt there. Picks off 2, gets Ender, has around the corner, the pistol's out, and that is it. Wow. What a crazy, spicy few seconds there for Pago.
We do have a couple of ultimate abilities that are ready at the moment as well. Pago has his ultimate for Jet, the Blade Storm, which is where you might have seen a couple of images online. It's where she suddenly turns into this kind of crazy person that's running around with lots of throwing knives available. When
She
you throw one of
Alita
those
Battle
knives,
Angel.
yeah,
Battle
basically,
Angel.
she
All at
becomes
once.
one of the most terrifying things on the map. If she connects and kills with one of those knives, that knife then reloads. So your left click will throw a single knife, your right click will throw all of the knives. So if someone pushes up and gets up in your grill, you just throw all of those knives at them. The likelihood of you killing them is pretty high, especially if you're going to connect with the face, and then you'll get all of those knives back as well. So she can make some huge plays. And Alex, you were talking about the economical differences that you might have because of her.
Yeah, I think myself and a few of my friends, we were theorizing on our podcast Foreheads, shameless plug, that and here are the knives. As a matter of fact, I'll get to this in a second, but Pago, he's got it. Unfortunately, Malton's got his number. That's that. So going back to the knives or what you could do with it, if you have that ult available, you actually don't need to buy weapons. You can actually save and utilize that. Granted, will you do that? Like I don't know, but if you want to get really crazy into the weeds of theory crafting, you could really have a fun time with, okay, maybe I don't buy this round because we're struggling a little bit. I use my knives, I'll save, I'll get back, I'll be able to pick up a vandal. Like there's just little details that you can use. And again, I'm going to keep stressing it, man. The tiny details in this game add up and make it that much more enjoyable to play. But this is going to be match point here for the other team. So let's see if Pago and crew can step up, because this is it.
And they do need to be careful. I think Lothar had the ultimate ability ready for Omen as well. And Omen can, of course, teleport entirely around the map using From the Shadows. He can pick anywhere on the map and he can teleport. So that is a possibility that could be there if he hasn't used it already in the last couple of rounds. But a couple of early picks is going to make this a 3 versus 5 here. And you can see in the top left, you see all that map going shadowy. That means Omen has used his ultimate ability. He is currently teleporting somewhere on the map. There are audio cues, so you will be able to hear him if you are close enough. But now they have to be wary that Forsen could be lurking in the shadows.
Here we go. Let's see now. They did manage to pick up 2. That's a huge one there. Noisy is going to equal things out. That is going to leave this fight here. He got Godolphin over here by B. And this map is fun because it asks the question, what if a map didn't have a B site, or sorry, a mid site, right? What if it didn't have a mid area in the map? It has an A, it has a B site, but what if it doesn't have mid? So it changes the flow of the game, and we're now going to be all tied up here, 12-12 people. This is coming down to the wire, winner take all. Who's got it?
Because it's very unforgiving.
Stormin is popping off in this game too.
So who, in y'all's experience, who got the offensive round? Is it if you were on offense in the 24th round, or you were on offense in the 25th round?
I actually haven't played enough. I only played one sudden death, so that is a good point.
You would think that with how many sudden deaths I played, I would actually know that, but I kind
I just won my
forgot.
games.
I just won the games. Didn't matter.
You just okay.
We just killed them all.
What a humble brag there, Gaskin. I really appreciate
says
it.
the man who says, "Oh yeah, the thing I liked about Valorant was I was just really good at it."
Oh no. Okay, I am the best, but obviously, we all go round 20, what is this, 25 sometimes, like come on people. All right,
we get there, but this is going to be this is where people need to step up. People need to clutch up as well.
Yeah, it's going to be an A-side push here. Let's see what they do. Also, when it does reset, everything resets at that point. So I think you all get like a base of $5,000 and you're able to purchase So it all resets across the board. No one keeps what they have, and also no ultimate abilities. That is something also to note. No ultimate abilities as you go into it, unless you pick up, you know, like let's say in this instance, well, it wouldn't matter because the game will be over. But if Godolphin were to pick up 2, he get his ultimate, you know, so on and so forth. But that doesn't really factor all that much here. And it's looking pretty darn good for Godolphin and company. They might be able to win this one out. And in the last round of play here, it's a 4v2. The spike has been planted, and now it's up to the Sage and the Brimstone to be able to push this and win the fight outright. A 1v3 now, a tall order, but that is it. Victory for Godolphin and the squad. GG's. Not bad. Not bad for our first game.